Stop what you're doing right now. If you or someone you love was expecting a CPP payment this week and it hasn't shown up in your bank account yet, do not panic. Do not call Service Canada just yet, and please do not assume something is permanently wrong, because in the next few minutes, I am going to walk you through exactly what is happening, exactly why your payment may be delayed, and exactly what steps you need to take right now to fix it. My name is Tyler, and welcome to CPP Experts, the channel dedicated to making sure Canadian seniors never miss a dollar they've rightfully earned. Today's video is one of the most important ones I've made in recent months, because right now, as of this week, thousands of seniors across Canada are typing the same thing into Google. Where is my CPP payment for March 2026? And I want to make sure that if you're one of those people, you leave this video with complete clarity and zero confusion. So let's start at the very beginning, because that's where most of the confusion comes from. The official CPP payment date for March 2026 was Friday, March 27th. This is confirmed directly on Canada.ca's official benefits payment calendar, a government page that lists every single scheduled benefit payment for the entire year. March 27th was the date. It has not changed. It was not cancelled. The money was released by Service Canada on that day. But here is the part that most people don't understand, and this misunderstanding alone causes enormous stress for seniors every single month. The fact that Service Canada releases a payment on a specific date does not mean the money appears in your account at the exact same moment. There is a gap, and that gap depends entirely on your bank and your payment method. Let me explain exactly what that looks like in practice. If you receive your CPP through direct deposit, which is the most common and most recommended method, the payment typically lands in your account somewhere between 12:01 in the morning and 9 o'clock in the morning on the official payment date. But it varies by institution. TD, RBC, CIBC, and BMO generally process government deposits between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern Time. Scotiabank follows a similar pattern. Some smaller institutions like Tangerine have actually been known to credit the funds the evening before, sometimes as early as 10:30 p.m. Eastern on the night of March 26th. So if you woke up early on the morning of March 27th and your balance hadn't updated yet, that was completely normal. By mid-morning, it should have been there. Now, if you check your account on March 27th in the afternoon and still saw nothing, that's when you should have started paying attention. And if you're watching this video now, a day or two later, and the money is still not there, then we need to start working through the reasons why, because there are several possibilities, and each one has a different solution. But before we get into that, let me talk about one group of seniors who should not be worried at all right now, and that's anyone who receives their CPP payment by check through the mail. If you have not yet switched to direct deposit and you're still waiting for a physical check, please understand that a delay of up to 2 full weeks beyond the official payment date is completely normal. Service Canada mails checks from centralized processing facilities, and if you live in a rural area, a remote community, or anywhere outside a major urban center, that check is traveling a significant distance. Canada Post timelines vary. Whether delays happen, this is not a sign that something went wrong. The check is coming. But I will come back to this point at the end of the video, because if you are still on checks in 2026, I want to have a serious conversation with you about switching to direct deposit, because it can save you this exact anxiety every single month. Now let's talk about the actual dollar amounts, because this is another major source of confusion that I see in the comments every single month. People come online, they read a headline that says CPP maximum payment is $1,507 per month in 2026, and then their actual payment arrives at $820 or $950, and they immediately think something is wrong. They think they've been shortchanged. They think there was an error. So let me set the record completely straight on this right now. According to the official Canada.ca Q1 2026 rate card, this is a government statistics page that is updated every quarter and lists every maximum benefit amount. The maximum CPP retirement pension for someone who starts collecting at age 65 is $1,507.65 per month as of January 2026. That number is real. That number is accurate. But here is what the headlines don't tell you. That maximum is only payable to someone who has contributed to CPP at the maximum level, based on the year's maximum pensionable earnings, which in 2026 is $74,600. For nearly 39 years of their working life, consistently, without significant gaps. That is an extremely high bar that the vast majority of Canadians do not meet. Part-time work, years spent raising children, self-employment gaps, immigration to Canada later in life. All of these things reduce your actual pension below the theoretical maximum. And Canada.ca confirms this directly. The average CPP retirement pension for new beneficiaries at age 65, as of the first quarter of 2026, is $803.76 per month. That is the real-world number. That is what the average Canadian senior actually receives. So if your payment is somewhere between $700 and $1,100, you are completely in the normal range. You have not been shortchanged. There is no error. The maximum figure you see online represents a ceiling that very few people actually reach. Now let's talk about the 2026 increase, because this is something every CPP recipient should be aware of. At the start of every year, Service Canada applies what is called the Cost of Living Adjustment, or COLA, to all CPP benefits that are already in payment. This adjustment is based on the Consumer Price Index and is meant to protect seniors from inflation. For 2026, that COLA was 2%. This means that whatever you were receiving in December 2025, your January 2026 payment should have been 2% higher, and that same increased amount should have continued through February and March. Let me put some real numbers on that so you can check your own situation. If you were receiving $500 per month in December 2025, you should now be receiving $510. If you were receiving $800, you should now be getting $816. If you were at $1,000, you should be at $1,020. And if you were at the previous maximum of $1,478.59, your new amount should be $1,507.65, an increase of just over $29 per month, or roughly $349 more over the full year. This adjustment is completely automatic. You do not need to apply. You do not need to call anyone. Service Canada processes it on your behalf at the start of every year. However, and this is important, if your January, February, or March 2026 payment was actually lower than your December 2025 payment, that is something you should investigate. There are a few legitimate reasons this can happen. The first is a change in tax withholding. If your personal tax situation changed, either because you updated your withholding preferences or because Service Canada made an administrative adjustment, the amount being deducted for taxes before your net deposit may have increased, making it look like your gross payment went down when it actually didn't. The second reason is overpayment recovery. Sometimes Service Canada determines that a recipient was paid too much in a previous period, and they begin recovering that overpayment by deducting small amounts from future payments. This should come with a written notice, so check your mail and your MSCA account for any correspondence. The third reason is a change in benefit type. For example, if you recently transitioned from CPP disability to CPP retirement, the calculation method changes and the amounts may differ. In any of these cases, if you are genuinely receiving less than you should be, call Service Canada at 1-800-277-9914 and ask for a full explanation. Now let's get into the most serious scenario, the one that has the most people worried. Your March 27th payment simply did not arrive at all. Zero balance. No deposit. Nothing. What are the most common reasons this happens? The number one reason is outdated or incorrect banking information. If you recently changed bank accounts, opened a new account, closed an old one, switched institutions, and you did not update your direct deposit information with Service Canada, your payment went to the old account. If that account is now closed, the bank rejects the deposit and sends it back to Service Canada. Service Canada then has to reprocess the payment, which takes several additional business days. During that time, you will not see the money in your account. The fix is to log into your My Service Canada account, MSCA, at canada.ca, verify that your banking information is current and correct, update it if necessary, and then wait for the reprocessed payment to come through. The second reason, and this one is so simple it almost seems impossible, but it happens more often than you would believe, is a single-digit error in the bank account number on file. One number wrong, that's all it takes. The payment either goes to the wrong account or gets rejected entirely. This is why I always say, when you update your banking information on MSCA, read it back digit by digit before you save it. Then read it again. A 30-second double check can save you 2 weeks of stress and multiple phone calls. The third reason applies specifically to CPP disability recipients, and I want to make sure this community understands it clearly. If you are collecting CPP disability benefits and you have been doing any kind of work, part-time employment, self-employment, freelance, anything, there is an earnings threshold you need to be aware of. In 2026, if your earnings from work reach $7,400 or more before tax, you are required to inform Service Canada, because this may be interpreted as a demonstrated capacity to work, which can affect your eligibility for disability benefits. And if your earnings reach $20,971, Service Canada will very likely suspend your CPP disability payments entirely. If this happened to you, your March payment would not have arrived, and the reason would be connected to your income. The official source for this is Canada.ca's CPP disability benefit page, and I strongly recommend reviewing it if this situation applies to you. The fourth reason your payment might not have arrived is simply the death of the account holder being processed in the system. I know this is a sensitive topic, but it's relevant for family members who may be watching this video on behalf of a loved one. When a CPP recipient passes away, payments stop automatically. The estate may be entitled to the CPP death benefit, a one-time lump sum of $2,500, but this is not automatic. A formal application must be submitted to Service Canada. If you are in this situation and need guidance, please call Service Canada directly. Now I want to spend a moment on a topic that doesn't get nearly enough attention, and that is the difference between when you start your CPP and how that decision affects every single payment you will ever receive for the rest of your life. Because I see seniors make this mistake constantly, and it costs them significantly. You can start receiving CPP as early as age 60. But if you do, your pension is permanently reduced by 0.6% for every single month you take it before age 65. That means if you start at 60, the earliest possible age, your pension is reduced by a permanent 36%. That reduction never goes away. You will receive 36% less than you would have at 65 every month for the rest of your life. On the other hand, if you delay starting CPP past age 65, your pension increases by 0.7% for every month you wait, up to age 70. If you wait until 70, your pension is 42% higher than it would have been at 65, permanently, forever. Now, I'm not saying everyone should wait until 70. There are health considerations, financial circumstances, and personal situations that affect this decision. But if you are in good health, if you have other sources of income to carry you through, and if you have not yet started your CPP, please think carefully before taking it early just out of habit or because it seems like the obvious thing to do. The math is significant. The difference between starting at 60 and waiting until 70 can be hundreds of thousands of dollars over a full retirement. There is one more community I want to speak to directly before we wrap up, and that is anyone who receives the Guaranteed Income Supplement, which we call GIS. This is a tax-free monthly payment available to low-income seniors who are already receiving OAS. And there is an absolutely critical deadline coming up that every GIS recipient must know about. Your GIS eligibility is reviewed every year based on your previous year's income, which Service Canada gets from your tax return filed with the Canada Revenue Agency. If you have not yet filed your 2025 income tax return, the deadline is April 30th, 2026. If CRA does not receive your return before that date, Service Canada will not have the income information they need to renew your GIS, and your payments can be suspended starting in July 2026. This is not a penalty, it's simply how the renewal system works. But the impact on a low-income senior who suddenly stops receiving GIS without warning can be devastating. So please, file your tax return before April 30th. Even if your income was zero, even if you have no taxes owing, the filing itself is what triggers the GIS renewal. If you need help, free tax clinics for seniors are available across Canada through the CRA's Community Volunteer Income Tax Program. Now let me give you the remaining 2026 CPP payment dates so you can write them down or save them in your phone right now. After March 27th, the dates are as follows: April 28th, May 27th, June 26th, July 29th, August 27th, September 28th, October 28th, November 26th, and December 22nd. The December payment comes slightly early every year to make sure seniors have their funds before the Christmas holidays. All of these dates are published on the Canada.ca Benefits Payment Calendar, and I recommend bookmarking that page so you always know exactly when to expect your payment. Now, before I close out today's video, I want to come back to something I mentioned earlier. If you are still receiving your CPP by paper check, please consider making the switch to direct deposit. I know change can feel uncomfortable, especially when you've been doing something the same way for years. But direct deposit is faster, safer, more reliable, and completely eliminates the anxiety of waiting for a check that might be delayed in the mail. Setting it up is straightforward. You log into your My Service Canada account at Canada.ca, go to the direct deposit section, enter your bank account information from the bottom of a void check or from your online banking app, and save it. That's it. Your very next payment will come straight to your account. No waiting, no wondering, no stress. And if you need to contact Service Canada for any reason, whether it's to report a missing payment, update your banking information, or ask about your payment amounts, the number is 1-800-277-9914. Before you call, I do recommend logging into MSCA first, because in many cases you can resolve the issue yourself online in a matter of minutes, without waiting on hold. MSCA shows you your complete payment history, your current benefit amounts, your direct deposit details, and any correspondence from Service Canada. It is genuinely one of the most useful tools available to Canadian seniors. And if you haven't set up your MSCA account yet, that is something worth doing this week. Let me leave you with a quick summary of everything we covered today. The official March 2026 CPP payment date was March 27th. Direct deposit recipients should see funds between midnight and 9 a.m. on that date, with most major banks processing between 3 and 6 a.m. Check recipients may wait up to 2 weeks. This is normal. The average CPP retirement payment in 2026 is $803.76 per month, not the $1,507.65 maximum you may have seen online. The 2026 COLA increase was 2%, applied automatically starting in January. If your payment didn't arrive, check your MSCA for banking errors, verify your direct deposit details, and call Service Canada if needed. CPP disability recipients should monitor their employment income against the $7,400 and $20,971 thresholds. And GIS recipients must file their 2025 tax return by April 30th, 2026 to avoid any interruption in payments. This money is yours. You earned it. You contributed to it throughout your working life, and you are fully entitled to every single dollar. So whenever something seems off, don't panic, don't assume the worst, and don't suffer in silence. Take the steps, ask the questions, and get what belongs to you. If this video helped you today, please give it a thumbs up. It genuinely helps more Canadian seniors find this information when they need it most. And if you know someone who's been worried about their CPP this week, share this video with them right now. It might be exactly what they need to hear. Subscribe to Canada Pension Insights so you never miss an update. We'll be back before the April 28th payment date with everything you need to know. Until then, take care of yourself and take care of each other. This is Tyler signing off.